Welcome to LaughNapkin. Today I have 3 stories for episode 28 of r/EntitledParents. So hit that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and let's get into it. No, your son can't play in our moving truck. Crash. With updates. I work for a moving company in the Midwest. Not gonna name any names, but let's just say it involves 2 dudes in a large vehicle. It's a solid, if not backbreaking job. One day we were slated to move a woman out of her now ex-husband's home. This wasn't an uncommon occurrence, as most divorces we have anything to do with are more than amicable. Just the occasional argument over who gets to keep what, but nothing heated. Heck, those types of moves usually tip the best. Side note, tip your movers, servers, or anyone with that type of job. This particular move was something special though. So this house was situated on a hill with 3 floors including the basement. Not an easy move, but not the hardest. That didn't stop Karen and her overdeveloped mayonnaise stain though. The entire time we were moving furniture, the mother and her roughly 9-year-old son kept harassing us, complaining about noise, us taking too long, we charge by the hour, and then there's the big issue. Customers are never allowed in the truck. This was just to avoid any items being removed, haphazard, or anything like that. As we finish up our portion of the move, my driver was getting paperwork and I was strapping down the last of the furniture. I noticed Entitled Kid wandering around the front of the truck. I didn't really think much of it. I mean, he's probably never seen a truck like this before, at least not this close. I peek around the corner. Me. Hey little guy, can you stay where we can see you? We wouldn't want you to get hurt. The kid just blows a raspberry and runs off, returning shortly with his mother. Entitled Mom. What did you say to my son? Me. Oh, nothing. Just to stay where we could see him. Entitled Mom, now looking like she just drank sour milk. Look, I'm paying you, so you just do your job and don't worry about what he's doing. Me, being the pushover I am. Yes, ma'am. Just make sure he stays safe. Entitled Mom. Fine, whatever. Not 2 seconds later, the kid is gone. I'm obviously worried, but I wanted to finish the job and go home. I hop back in the truck and finish loading up our ramps. That's when I hear a noise that makes my heart sink. It was the sound of the parking brake being disengaged. Now the parking brake is just a big yellow button that I doubt most kids could resist. Not the best design, I know, but what can you do? I feel the truck slowly starting to roll. Without thinking, I jump off the back and yell for help. The truck rolled about 30 feet downhill and ironically into the corner of a mechanic shop. Entitled Mom came out shrieking and cussing like a retired sailor, blaming me and saying that I should have been watching her kid. I didn't pay attention as I was running over to the truck to check on the kid. Thank every deity above that his mother actually taught him to wear a seatbelt. Entitled Kid was just a little scratched up from the broken windshield. I pulled the for some reason giggling child from the truck, only to have him yanked away and replaced with a hearty slap. We called our station and reported what happened. Entitled Mom had her move canceled, but was still billed for the damages to both our truck and the building, which she refused. I'll post a hopefully shorter update when I learn more. Update. Wow, my first gold and silver. Thanks so much everyone. A few things before we continue. Some of you pointed out that we should call the police. The father actually did, so I didn't really think it was necessary to include. Seemed a little obvious. A few more of you who actually work for the same company pointed out that the wheel blocks should have been down and the truck locked up. Funny thing is, the blocks were down. The truck, however, was unlocked because Entitled Mom didn't want us leaving our water bottles, which she called trash, around her house. Anyway, on to the inevitable court case. It's my driver, our company representative, and I against the banshee herself and her lawyer. The case began and the judge asked for Entitled Mom's statement. The following is what happened. Entitled Mom. Your Honor, I'm here to press charges against the negligence and basically hostile actions this company promotes. Judge, can you clarify what you mean by negligence? The entitled mom started spinning her own twisted version of the story, claiming that I allowed her son into the truck as a joke and left him there to go smoke weed. Not only that, but she's trying to claim that we damaged the majority of her stuff due to not doing our job correctly. The entire time I'm hearing this, the kid is trying to run around the courtroom and making faces at the bailiff. Finally, it's me and my coworker's turn. We give our side of the story, and the representative even has a tape from the traffic cam from the intersection of the crash. Turns out the little ball of spoiled Miracle Whip had taken the wheel blocks while we were working, in full view of his mother. Entitled mom tried claiming that they looked like toys, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. You could almost hear the dying brain cells from this statement. Now, for the moment you've been waiting for, sentencing. The judge didn't even have to think twice about it. Entitled mom was charged with child endangerment, property damage to our truck, the mechanic shop, and a light post that was left bent, and a little cherry of assault for the slap I received. In total, it was roughly $30,000 in fines. Sadly, with her divorce, her income wouldn't allow this, so she ended up getting almost 3 years in prison and 2 years of probation. As soon as entitled mom heard this, she went ballistic, screaming at us and the judge about being heartless to her family and claiming that we were probably bribed by her husband. The bailiff ended up dragging her away with the help of 2 officers. Needless to say, I quit that job a month later. Let them eat cake. Long ago, way back in the before time, I worked for one of those bulk warehouse club stores. My trade was simple. I was a wrangler of the Silver Buffalo and dutifully retrieved the old ghetto strollers I did. The job in and of itself wasn't the worst I'd ever had. I got plenty of exercise, got to be outside, and generally didn't have to interact with the members. Calling them customers was taboo, for the most part. The thing about this job is that the company I worked for had a reputation for being cheap. Thusly, more often than not, I was on my own out in the parking lot. Big whoop, you might say. You gathered carts? You should see how hard my job is. Yeah, well, shut up. This is my story, butt munch. I digress. The reason that being alone sucked is that the store didn't have just one type of cart. Hell, they didn't even have 2 types of carts. You had your plastic garden variety cart, the kiddie car with a plastic facade to make it resemble a car, the electric scooters which weren't supposed to leave the store but did so with alarming frequency, and finally, the bulky, hard-to-control flatbeds. On top of that, whenever someone needed help loading their haul into their minivans, I was the guy they called. You know, because the greeters, cashiers, and managers were all busy. As you might expect, one man cannot be in multiple places at once, and as a result, on some of our busier days, it became incredibly difficult to keep enough carts in the vestibule. Our story begins on one of these days. So there I was, chugging along like a good worker drone, struggling to keep up with the sheer volume of people coming in to buy cheap, bulk goods. Sure enough, I get a call on the radio. OP, we need you to help some members load their purchases. Me, I'd love to, but I'm barely able to keep up out here as is. Manager, just do it, OP. You can afford to stop gathering carts for 2 minutes. I didn't want to push my luck, so I complied. After spending 20 minutes loading people's purchases because when one person needs it, suddenly they all need it, I came back to find my vestibule a near ghost town, except for a single line of carts that was half gone, and the Karen. I won't waste time describing this specimen. She was the prototype. You know what she looked like. There she stood, menacing, tapping her foot with such speed that could make any metal drummer green with envy. You could collect the contempt in her gaze in a jar. Karen, where are the big flat ones? I blanked for a moment. Me, I'm sorry? Karen, Mexicans. For the record, I'm very much white. Karen, where are the flat ones? Me, oh, you mean the flatbeds? I'm sorry, I was just helping some other members load their merchandise and haven't had a chance to. Karen, oh my God, I don't care about your excuses. You have one job and a trained monkey could do it. I just want this lady out of my face, so I don't fight it. Me, sorry ma'am, I'll grab one from the parking lot for you. Karen, you'd better. So I go back out to the lot and find a whole line of flatbeds sticking out of a corral, blocking several parking spaces. I push them all into the vestibule where she waits, huffing about how I'm wasting her valuable time. I separate one from the rest and bring it to her. Me, I'm terribly sorry about the wait, ma'am. She leers at me with utter malice. Karen, unbelievable. And with that, she dismisses herself into the store, where she will be someone else's problem. I shake my head and return to doing what I'm paid to do. About 15 minutes later, I'm returning a line of carts when I see her pushing her flatbed to her Miata and jawing about stupid people, most certainly referring to me, on her cell phone. You know what she had bought? She had insisted on having a flatbed for a cake. This wasn't even like a big cake. This was one of those little circular numbers like this. Anyways, I witnessed as she continued to yammer on about how I nearly ruined, I tell you, her precious baby's birthday party when the most glorious thing happened. Still clutching her phone with those hyalized scoop claws of hers, she attempts to pick up the cake with one hand. The plastic topper pops off and she spills the cake all over her undoubtedly expensive designer outfit. Seething with white-hot rage, she locks eyes with me. Karen, you, get me another cake now. Me, terribly sorry, ma'am. I've got one job and these carts won't gather themselves. I walked away with the biggest grin plastered on my face as her shrieks faded into the distance behind me. I've had my share of nasty customer interactions before, but this one really took the cake. Yee! My fish are not your kids' toys. Where do I begin? This incident happened about 2 years ago, but I remember it lucidly and got reminded of it because this coming summer, bad news. Bad news. So I'll spill it here. Also, sorry if this is very emotionally charged. I'm still shaken up by it to this day. 2 kids, 1 mom, me on a work/vacation trip, my fish. I'm sure every fish keeper can understand I was already nervous to begin with leaving the home for a week with my fish in the care of my parents. Well, little did I know that my parents had invited a family friend over to stay and the kids were given my room to sleep in. My parents decided to tell me this as I was leaving for the trip, and the first thing I explicitly expressed was don't let those kids touch the water, touch the equipment, tap the glass. Y'all know where this is going now. I did a nice big water change on all 3 of my tanks, then I was gone. I get little to no updates as I requested from my parents, till I get back. Here's what happened while I was gone. The mother of these 2 kids encouraged her little brats to do what they pleased, as she told my parents to basically piss off and stop being prudes about it. They gave me some quotes. "Oh please, this isn't a state aquarium, they're fine." And, "They aren't hurting the fish, they're giving them love." These kids had tainted the waters with their toys, hands, and God knows what else, because the ammonia was high when I tested. My fish were distraught, and my live bearers were dead. I found many of my fish were missing scales and had protrusions, so they had been grabbed and squeezed. And the live bearer fry, baby fish, dead on my floor. I demanded to talk to the mother of this woman. My parents wouldn't give me the number, and they talked to her themselves. They were passive and laid back about this whole ordeal because they're kind of about the whole "it's just a fish" thing. And that woman had the nerve to pull the imprisonment card and basically say, well, those poor animals are living miserable lives in glass boxes anyways. Let me tell y'all how pissed off I am to this day that my parents still invite her and her kids over and act casual as if it never happened or didn't hurt me. My parents wouldn't go to much of any length to defend my fish as they would for the dog or cats. The kicker. This very summer, that mother and 2 kids are gonna come over again, and my room will be deadbolt locked. These fish, the majority of them I raised since they were hatched, born. I've had these fish for years, and I plan to continue to have them for decades to come. Because obviously, I love them. A lot. And I frankly don't care if they changed. I don't want them near my tanks. I'll probably do an update post about how things go this summer if it's bad. I don't have high hopes, and can't stand the thought of having to face that entitled mom again. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. Don't forget to join my Discord if you want to submit your own story or just be part of the LaughNapkin community. And please, consider subscribing as it helps me out big time.